Apollo 15, this is Houston through Orion, over. Apollo 15, this is Houston through Orion, over.
Roger, Houston, 15, you're about 1 by 1 through Orion.
Roger, you're about 3 by, clear enough to understand.
Alright, so we got somebody else on the loop with us too.
Coming up on 10 minutes to TLI ignition. Mark, 10 minutes.
Roger, supply.
Looks like we have a slow repress time. We're to about 22, 23 on the fuel pressure here.
Roger, Dave, you're just barely readable. Understand you're getting a normal repress. Looks good to us here.
Okay, normal repress.
Slot boards here in Mission Control Center on the center screen are being set up now to monitor the Trans-Lunar Injection burn. Some 5 minutes, 43 seconds away from ignition. Should be in about a minute and a half, acquired by the second Orion spacecraft, or aircraft in mid-Pacific. Booster reports that the tanks in the S4B stage have been pressurized.
Apollo 15, Houston through Orion number 2, over. 15 Houston, you're way down in the static, but I can't hear you transmit, over.
Okay, we'll pick you up at the keel.
This is Apollo Control. There was some doubt in the booster engineer's mind that the engine bell of the S4B J2 engine had been properly chilled down, as from the data that he got through the Orion 1 aircraft. However, his new data coming in through Orion 2 has confirmed that the chill down procedure prior to start has been accomplished as scheduled. We're some 2 minutes 15 seconds away from TLI ignition. Continuing to stand by as we approach acquisition at Hawaii, and some 2 minutes from now, still standing by through the Orion 2 aircraft. Communications through Orion 2 have been somewhat scratchy, almost unintelligible from the spacecraft.
Roger, average G.
Upline.
Roger, supply.
Looking at an ignition time of 2 hours 50 minutes 1 second ground elapsed time. Cut off at 2 hours 55 minutes 54 seconds. Total spacecraft velocity at cutoff should be 35,608.7 feet per second. seconds. Mark, 20 seconds to TLI ignition.
We have ignition.
Roger, ignition. Houston, we're showing good thrust.
Velocity building up. Now 26,270. 26,347 feet per second. Resulting apogee building up now 679 miles, 706, clicking over very rapidly.
KS4B pressure is 40 and 30, and we had a little surge at about 1 minute.
Roger, that was PU shift, and that looks, the thrust looks good.
Okay.
Velocity continuing to build, 26,700 feet per second. Resulting apogee, 1,661. Coming up on 30,000.
We're about halfway through. Pressures are steady at 40 and 30, and ordeal is tracking right on zero.
Roger, 15 at 3 minutes. It looks completely nominal to us.
Roger.
Coming up on 30,000 feet per second. Mark, 30,000 feet per second. Resulting apogee, 4,685 nautical miles.
Houston, we have about a minute to go. We're tracking 39 and 30 on the pressures, and ordeal's about 0.
15, Houston, roger. Looks good here. Uh, 15, Houston, we're estimating cutoff about 4 seconds earlier than the pad time.
Roger, understand. 5 plus 5, 1.
That's affirmative.
Velocity rapidly approaching the TLI cutoff speed.
Okay, shut down. 5 plus 5, 1.
Roger.
The tank pressure is about 82 coming down the oxidizer and about 28 coming down the fuel.
Roger.
Cutoff velocity 35,522 feet per second, resulting apogee from that maneuver 290,682 nautical miles.
15, Houston, we're getting a lot of static for some reason. Say again, please.
Roger, Gordo. I've got the cutoff. We're ready to go.
Go ahead.
Okay, we cut off on the VI of 35614. T was plus 02. 5. Delta V 4.1. And altitude was 167.4.
15, Houston, most of your readback is blocked by static. Let's wait a little while and we'll try it again.
Okay, Gordo. And Houston, we have the S4B in orbit.
Roger. You're loud and clear now.
Okay. Okay, Houston, I've got the data if you want to copy.
Okay, sounds good now. Go ahead again.
Okay, Disky was 3559er. VG plus 145. And the Delta VC minus 14.9. TFC plus 0.02. And for your information, the H dot was 4353 and the H was 167.4 and cutoff.
Roger, say again what that figure plus 02 was.
Yeah, TFC.
Roger, okay, copied all that. And for your information, the maneuver to the TD and E attitude should start about 1 second earlier than the flight plan, 3:10:53.
Roger, 3:10:53.
This is Apollo Control. Tracking now showing the spacecraft at 1,383 nautical miles out, directly over the Corpus Christi, Texas tracking station, but beginning the tail stand and loop backward to the west as the Earth rotates beneath the trajectory of the spacecraft. Velocity dropped off somewhat from the initial cutoff velocity of 35,000 and some odd feet per second, now down to 30,436 feet per second. Estimated time of closest approach to the moon, now 78 hours, 34 minutes ground elapsed time. Continuing to stand by and monitor the preparations for the maneuver to separation attitude, the actual separation of the command service module from the spacecraft limb adapter, and docking with the lunar module, and finally the ejection of the Apollo 15 spacecraft from the S4B stage, which will have done its job quite well, apparently, in what is shaping up thus far to be a completely nominal mission. This is Apollo Control at 3 hours, 8 minutes, 37 seconds ground elapsed time, standing by live on air ground. Cabin pressure aboard Apollo 15 now 5.5 pounds per square inch. Heart rates currently for Scott, Warden, and Irwin respectively at 65, 69, and 69. Flight Director Jerry Griffin polling the flight controllers in the room for a go for transposition, docking, and extraction. Heard no goes so far. He's telling Capcom to tell him it's go.
Apollo 15, Houston.
Houston 15.
Everything looks good here. Your go for transposition and docking.
Roger, go for transposition and docking.
This is Apollo Control. Apollo 15 now 3,654 nautical miles out from Earth. Velocity now 25,178 feet per second. Total weight, including the spent S4B stage, 144,157 pounds. Continuing to monitor the air ground as the crew of Apollo 15 prepares to turn around and move the lunar module out of its garage. At 3 hours, 21 minutes, up and live on air ground. This is Apollo Control.
Okay, Houston 15, 30 seconds.
Roger.
Okay, Houston, we got a good set.
Roger.
And prime propellant B secondary and delta prime N secondary wind bar propel, and they're both gray now, reset.
Roger. 15 Houston, would you give us Omni Bravo?
Omni Bravo. Okay, Houston, looks like you've got a good limb in there, and we're rolling now, and the opening rates are stopped, and you should have a TV.
Roger, I haven't got the picture up here yet. Stand by and I'll give you a check on that.
Okay.
Houston.
Go, Houston.
Goldstone's receiving the carrier, but we're not getting any signal on the carrier for the TV. Over.
Okay, we've got a good picture on the monitor up here.
Starting to get a black and white picture here in mission control. It'll take a little while to get it through the converter.
Houston, we're getting the picture now, and the LEM is coming in the lower right-hand corner of our field of view.
Okay. Okay, Houston, looks like we've got a good high gain antenna. Do you want us to give you the high gain or stay on the Omni?
Stand by. We'll take the high gain, Dave.
Roger, going high gain. Okay, Houston, we're in auto and medium. Looks like we got a good lock.
Roger, and we're getting a very good picture here.
Okay.
It's over on the right-hand side of the field of view. Houston, request wide beam width, please.
Wide beam.
16 Houston, the centering on the picture is good now, and we're getting an excellent quality picture.
Very good. We're almost there. Capture.
Roger.
We're retracting.
Roger.
Hard dock, Houston.
Roger.
Okay, Houston 15.
Go ahead.
Okay, that all went fairly nominally, and the only different thing we've noticed is the SPS thrust light on the EMS is now on, and we don't know when it came on, somewhere in the processor.
As you understand, the SPS thrust light is on.
And all the switches are off.
Apollo 15, Houston.
Go ahead. Houston 15.
Uh, 15, Houston, we'd like you to pull both SBS pilot valve circuit breakers on panel 8.
Okay, that's being done. both open.
Roger.
This is Apollo Control. Apollo 15 now 7,460 nautical miles out from Earth. Velocity continuing to decrease, now 20,197 feet per second. Fairly quiet crew, this mission. But on the off chance they will talk some more, we'll leave the circuit up. At 3 hours 43 minutes ground elapsed time, this is Apollo Control. Crew of Apollo 15 presently pressurizing the lunar module. This is Apollo Control. Spacecraft systems engineers here in Mission Control Center are troubleshooting unusual valve position indication on telemetry and in the spacecraft cockpit for the valves in the propellant system for the service module propulsion engine, and are sorting out which malfunction procedure the crew should go through. There was no danger of the engine igniting by itself because of this, but it is desired that the problem be ironed out. Continuing to monitor the Apollo 15 air-ground circuit up and live. Now showing cabin pressure on the command module of 4.2 pounds per square inch. We have no pressure reading yet in the lunar module, but the crew apparently has begun pressurization of the LEM. Distance now 8,774 nautical miles out from Earth. Velocity continuing to decrease, 19,065 feet per second. 3 hours 51 minutes ground elapsed time. Still live. This is Apollo Control.
Apollo 15, Houston.
Houston 15, go ahead.
At 3:55:54, about 40 seconds, non-propulsive vent will be opened on the booster.
Roger, Gordo, understand.
Apollo 15, Houston, the vent should be complete now.
Okay, understand.
This is Apollo Control, some 4 minutes away from ejection of the command service module docked to the lunar module from the spent S4B stage, which has now completed its non-propulsive vent. Spacecraft now 12,036 nautical miles out from Earth. Velocity dropped off to 16,839 feet per second. Only anomaly encountered thus far after Trans-Lunar Injection is a couple of service module propulsion system valves were noted both on board and on telemetry as being in the open position when they should be in closed position. The crew was instructed to open some circuit breakers upstream of these valves to give a double redundancy against an accidental start of the engine, which would be a pretty remote possibility in the first place. because some other steps have to be taken prior to a start. In any case, after the transposition, or after the ejection from the S4B, Capcom will pass up to the crew the malfunction procedure to go through to track down and troubleshoot what the slight anomaly is in the SPS valve position indications. At 4 hours 14 minutes.
Go ahead.
Right, Cardo, we're ready to get the power arms and logics on now.
Stand by.
Okay, logic's coming on. Logic 1, logic 2.
Your go for pyro on.
Roger. Okay, Houston, we'll step at 418.
Roger, standing by.
Okay, Houston, we got a good step.
Roger.
Okay, Houston 15, we have the S4B in sight, and it looks like it's probably about 700-800 feet away.
Roger.
Houston 15.
Go ahead, 15.
Roger, we have the S4B in sight, and it looks like it's 500 feet or so away.
Roger, we copy first time. If it's okay with you and looks clear, we'll command the maneuver.
Roger, and it looks like a clean bird out there.
Roger. We'll be sending the yaw command at 4:31.
Roger. Okay, we can see the thruster activity on the S4B.
Roger.
Looks like a light mist in a sort of conical shape, maybe 100 feet long or so.
Roger.
And Houston, as a sidelight, we can verify that the Falcon has his rover aboard.
Very good.
Houston 15.
Go ahead. Go ahead, 15.
As we watch the S4B drift away here, how about passing along to Jim Harrington at the Cape? Congratulations from the crew to the launch team for a superior job.
Okay, we sure will.
Smooth all the way and right on time.
Jerry Griffin reports that he's already done that.
Good.
So we'll second it from the crew. Apollo 15, Houston, over.
Houston 15.
We're thinking about your SPS thrust on light problem, and we'd like you to verify the positions of the EMS function and mode switches.
Roger, off and standby.
Roger.
Houston is 15, starting to configure for charging battery B.
Roger. Apollo 15, Houston.
Houston 15.
I think you may have missed a verb 66 right there just after LEM ejection. We need one now.
Roger, in work. And Houston 15, S4B looks nice and stable out there. You're going for your basic maneuver as far as we're concerned.
Okay, fine. We're just about to ask you on that.
Okay.
It'll be started at 4:40.
Roger, 440. And we're just about 90 degrees of beam.
Roger.
Okay, Houston, we see the S4B moving very slowly.
Roger.
Houston, this is 15.
Go ahead, 15.
Do you want us to terminate the charge when I'm reading 39.5?
Stand by. Jim, we'll call you based on integrated amp hours that we figure out down here.
Okay, fine. Houston 15.
Go ahead.
Okay, we have a LEM CM Delta P of plus 0.2 at the present time.
Roger, Dave, plus 0.2. 15, Houston.
Houston 15, go ahead.
We need to have you reinitialize the high gain. We'd like you to set pitch minus 30, yaw plus 98, and go to REAC, over.
Roger, we copy. Minus 30 and plus 98.
Roger.
How you read?
Loud and clear. 15 Houston, watch your middle gimbal.
Roger.
15 Houston.
Houston 15, go ahead.
At 5:01:20, we'll be starting a lock stump through the S4B engine. And we have the rest mat when you're ready for it, for the P-52.
Okay, you want pull and accept?
Affirm. 15 Houston, the computer is yours. You have a new rest mat and the trunnion bias has been zeroed.
Roger, Gordo, thank you.
This is Apollo Control at 5 hours 16 minutes ground elapsed time. Distance from Earth now 20,412 nautical miles. Velocity 13,335 feet per second. Crew of Apollo 15 can hardly be called verbose. It's been extremely quiet during this period after Trans-Lunar Injection. Crew will be settling down for an eat period in less than an hour, at which time it will probably be even quieter. Standing by on air, ground, up and live, this is Apollo Control.
Apollo 15 Houston, over.
Go ahead, Houston.
When you get a free moment, we have reasonably short procedure in line with checking out the SPS thrust light. Over.
Okay, stand by. Go ahead, Gordo, ready to copy.
Okay, we see you starting the P-52. This shouldn't interfere, but we can wait if you wish.
I'm just going to copy the procedure and we'll do it later.
Okay, it's the kind of thing where you have to watch on the ground as you do it, so it's probably not even worth writing down.
Okay, let's wait then till after P-52.
All right.
Houston 15.
Go ahead.
Okay, Gordo, if you're reading, I've got the gyro torquing angles up, and I'll torque them out at 5:30.
Okay, we're reading the disky. Understand 5:30.
This is Apollo Control at 5 hours 32 minutes ground elapsed time. Apollo 15 now 22,102 nautical miles out from Earth. Velocity 12,844 feet per second. Crew most likely, it's pretty hard to tell what they're doing at this time. Most likely, though, we're in an eat period scheduled in the flight plan to start at 6 hours. Here in the control center, the systems engineers are devising a simple test to track down some apparent short circuit indications in the valve system to the service propulsion system. It's what's known in flight control vernacular as funnies. There's no great concern over the onboard and telemetered indications of these two valve positions. The crew was instructed to open some circuit breakers upstream of the two valves. But at some time in the not too distant future, the Capcom will relay to the crew instructions for troubleshooting the anomaly. And at 5 hours 34 minutes on elapsed time. This is Apollo Control.
Apollo 15 Houston, standing by with a liftoff plus 15 aboard pad.
Stand by. Okay, Gordo, I'm standing by for the pad.
Okay, that's GET of ignition of 01500. Delta VT 4926 minus 175 05120. Go ahead.
Stand by. Gordo, give me that. It's a P-37 pad that you have there.
That's right, Jim. Sorry, I should have used that terminology.
Go ahead.
Okay, 01500. Time of ignition. 4926. Longitude is minus 175. And GET for 400K is 05120. Over.
Copied 01500, 4926, minus 175, 05120.
That's correct, Jim. Go ahead. 15 Houston, when y'all get a chance, we'd like to go with this SPS thrust light check.
Okay, Gordo, I'm over the left couch now. Let's go ahead and try it.
Okay, stand by, I'll get everybody watching. Okay, first of all, I'd like to be sure that both the pilot valve circuit breakers on panel 8 and both Delta V thrust switches are off. Both circuit breakers.
Okay, Houston. Both pilot valves are open and the Delta V thrust switches are off.
Okay, now when we do the following steps, we'd like you to watch the SPS thrust light and watch it for changes either going out or changes in intensity. We're trying to determine if it's a high resistance or a low resistance short, and if it gets brighter, that'll tell us something about the short with any one of these actions.
Okay.
Okay, first item is put the thrust hand controller clockwise and watch the light.
Gordo, do you mean the THC, the translation hand controller?
That's what I meant, THC, clockwise.
Okay, we'll go clockwise with it. So clockwise and no change.
Okay, put the THC back to neutral.
Roger.
Okay, SPS thrust switch direct on.
Okay, SPS thrust direct on.
And any change in the light?
I didn't see any change. And it's off.
Okay, back to normal.
It's back to normal.
Okay, we'd like you to do the first part of an EMS Delta V check. It's on page G2-5, and just the first steps down to the, don't have to do the bias check, but the first 6 steps there.
Right.
Idea here is to check for possible short in the Delta V test circuits that might be causing the light on.
Okay, Gordo, that part of the check's been run and shut off at a minus 21.4 in 10 seconds. And the SPS thrust light got distinctly brighter during the during the acceleration period.
Roger, Al. Copy. Stand by, I'll see if there's anything else they want to do here.
Roger.
Okay, Al, I guess no more questions right now. We'll mull that over a little bit.
Okay, Gordo.
This is Apollo Control at 6 hours, 16 minutes ground elapsed time.
I've got a short update for your erasable load update as contained in the back of the GNC checklist. Three addresses to update. Over.
Okay, go ahead.
Turn to page G9-4.
Stand by.
Okay, Gordo, go ahead. I got the GNC checklist up now.
Okay, 9-4. The first one is changing NBDX, a static drift compensation for the X gyro. Under load alpha, the octal ID number 11, which now reads 77332, change that to 00377. Over.
Understand, that's Alpha Octal ID 11, where it now says 77332. Change that to read 00377.
That's affirmative. And on load Bravo, IDs 4 and 5 are changed. This changes TFM to correspond with actual liftoff. And load 4, which is now 30560, change that to 32251. And while you're still writing, change the next one, load or ID number 5, from 10,000 to 26157.
Roger, understand, that's column Bravo, IDs 4 and 5, change 4 to 32251 and 5 to 26157.
That's correct. That takes care of it, Al.
Okay.
This is Apollo Control. Apollo 15 now 27,621 nautical miles out from Earth. Velocity now 11,498 feet per second. Spacecraft communicator Gordon Fullerton passed up some troubleshooting procedures on the apparent short circuits that are causing some spurious indications not only in the spacecraft cockpit but also here in the control center through telemetry. The pilot valves were open, the Delta V lights turned off on the EMS or the entry monitor system. Thrust controller was rotated clockwise and back to neutral. The SPS thrust switch was turned to direct on and then back to normal. And the first 6 steps of the entry monitor system Delta V check were run. It was noticed the SPS engine light on was brighter during the deceleration period, and at that point the troubleshooting was terminated for the time being while the systems engineers here in Mission Control mull over the situation, and also the people in the spacecraft analysis office, the so-called span room. No great amount of concern here over the apparent short circuit that's causing these indications, but further attempts will be made to isolate what the cause of the indications are. Guidance, navigation, and control officer should be briefing the flight director before too long on what his recommendations are. And at 6 hours 22 minutes ground elapsed time, still live on air ground. This is Apollo Control.
Houston, 15, go.
If you're not using the optics, we suggest you zero them. We notice them drifting.
Okay, thank you. We've been taking turns looking at the Earth through the telescope. It's a fantastic sight.
Roger, Dave.
As a matter of fact, this sure would be a neat place for a space station out here.
Roger.
This is Apollo Control. It's 7 hours, 14 minutes. Flight Director Jerry Griffin and his gold team of flight directors, flight controllers, have completed the handover to Flight Director Milton Windler and the Maroon team. Capcom for the Maroon team is astronaut Carl Heneyes. We're estimating the change of shift news conference for 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Apollo 15 is 10,526 nautical miles from Earth. Velocity up below that. Distance is 33,154 miles. Velocity is 10,526 feet per second. This is Apollo Control. The change of shift news conference will begin momentarily in the MSC News Center briefing room. We will take down the release line during this news conference. We will tape any air-ground transmissions and play those back following the news conference. It's 7 hours, 30 minutes. This is Mission Control, Houston. This is Apollo Control. It's 7 hours, 59 minutes. During the change of shift news conference, there were 3 brief air-ground conversations totaling 2 minutes, 40 seconds. Most significant of these was the first one about 20 minutes ago, in which Capcom Carl Heneyes passed up the 3 possibilities on the short circuit causing the SPS light, and advising the crew we will pass up a procedure to them about 6 p.m. Central Time. We will play that tape now and then stay up live.
Apollo 15, this is Houston.
Hello, Houston, Apollo 15, go.
Hey, the results that we got out of that last test procedure didn't solve many problems for us. I guess the best we found out was that we don't have a simple problem like a stuck EMS relay. And there's a lot of thinking going on down here. And at the present time, we line up three possibilities, depending on where the ground is in the system. And the first one is that it's still a ground that simply turns on the light and affects nothing else. Second possibility, that it's a ground that's going to light the engine early when you put on the delta V thrust switches. And there's a third possibility, that the ground is upstream of the pilot valves, and that we'll blow the pilot valve circuit breakers and lose that bank if we're unlucky. We're busy down here working on a procedure that we could use at Midcourse Correction 1 to decide which of these 3 possibilities is the right one. And we're talking about getting this all worked out and sent up to you in about 2 hours.
Okay, understand. Good luck.
Righto. This is Houston.
Yes, it was 0.9.
Roger, we read Delta V 0.9. This is Houston.
We're seeing a low O2 repress package pressure down here. Okay, we'll take that back. We have a suspicion that we have a low O2 repress package, and would like to have an onboard readout of your pressure there.
Okay. Houston, it is a little low. We just never finished filling it after we pressurized the ton.
Roger. They say they'd like to go to fill now and get it filled up.
Right, we'll do that.
This is Apollo Control. We're back live now on the release line. Apollo 15 is maneuvering to the attitude to perform the P-23 Cislunar navigation sightings. This is Apollo Control at 8 hours 19 minutes. Apollo 15 is 39,282 nautical miles from Earth. Velocity 9,629 feet per second. Command Module Pilot Al Worden is now performing the Cislunar navigation task scheduled in the flight plan. It's going well. This is Apollo Control at 8 hours 51 minutes. Apollo 15 is 42,124 nautical miles from Earth. Velocity 9,269 feet per second. The evaluation of the troubleshooting and operational procedures to be taken because of the SPS thrust-on light problem is continuing. We expect the procedure that will be used during the mid-course correction 1 time to be ready to pass up to the crew by 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. There is a possibility that we will continue with another troubleshooting procedure prior to the mid-course time. The back rooms are taking a look at that right now. We'll continue to stand by live for any air ground. This is Mission Control, Houston. This is Apollo Control at 9 hours 6 minutes. The Cislunar navigation sightings are continuing aboard Apollo 15. We do plan tonight to go through the procedures in an attempt to isolate the suspected short circuit in the SPS light. These procedures will be passed up to the crew shortly. And they will be performed at the time of the mid-course correction number 1 at 11 hours 55 minutes elapsed time. That's about 8:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. There is a possibility that some additional troubleshooting will precede these procedures. That has not yet been determined. But the plan is to definitely go through the procedures tonight in an attempt to isolate the location of the short circuit. Continuing to monitor live, this is Mission Control, Houston.
Apollo 15, this is Houston.
Houston 15, go.
Hey, would you ask Al to give us about 3 seconds on the noun 49 so we can read them out down here?
Oh, very well.
15, this is Houston with an update for your procedures for UV photos.
Stand by 1. And Houston, that last 949 looked like 60 and 16.
We copy. Roger. On page 3-15 in the flight plan, in the left column, about the 17th line down, we have 2 frames with filter number 2.
Yes, I found that line.
Roger, and instead of 2 frames at 20 seconds, we would like 1 frame at 20 seconds, and we would like a second frame at 2 seconds.
Roger, I copy 1 at 20 seconds and 1 at 2 seconds.
Roger. The reason for that is that they have recently measured a secondary light leak in that filter, and they need 2 different exposures like this to really separate the 2 peaks in the filter transmissivity. Incidentally, this is going to pertain to all the UV photography of the Earth on down the line, but we'll update it as we come to them. And 15, we have a preliminary procedure about to come up to you to see if we can isolate whether this ground in the SPS system is in Bank A or Bank B, and that'll be coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, I understand.
And we would like to do that before we start the UV photography.
Very well.
15, this is Houston. I have the preliminary procedure I spoke about, and we're hoping you might be able to do it while Al works with the P-23.
Okay, go ahead.
You might refer, if you want to see what's going on, to drawing 8.9 down in area E3. We're playing with the delta V thrust switch. And the idea is this. First of all, let's open the Group 5 circuit breakers on panel 229, both main A and main B. That's a backup to the SPS pilot valves on panel 8, which we also want open. Verify that.
Okay, Group 5, main A and main B on 229. Stand by. Okay, both those are open.
Roger. We verify Group 5, both open, and the SPS pilot valves both open. Then we'd like to take the delta V thrust A switch and try to balance it right in a center position. Tease it back and forth a little bit to see if you can get any flickering in the SPS thrust on light.
Okay, stand by.
Jim, let's hold up a little bit before we do that. We're not all set up down here to watch that also. So let me read on through the procedure.
Okay, go.
If the light does flicker, of course, that's going to isolate. In this case, if we were playing with the delta V thrust A switch, that'll isolate the problem into to the A bank of valves. If we don't see any flicker, then we'll go ahead and try it with the B bank. Actually, we would like to go ahead and do it with the B bank also. So stand by a moment.
Okay, I understand. Standing by.
We'd like to have a high gain medium.
High gain medium.
15, this is Houston. We're ready to go ahead, verify again the Group 5 breakers and the SPS pilot valve breakers, and then let's tease that delta V thrust A switch. Try to balance it in a central position.
Okay, we'll do. We note that drawing 8.9 Echo 3 doesn't seem to fit what you're doing.
Actually, it's area Echo 3 and 4, and it simply shows you the delta V thrust switches there.
Oh, okay, okay.
The light has a contact, whether that switch is on or off, and we would like to balance it halfway between so that we don't have a contact.
Okay, here goes Delta VA now. Okay, A is up and on, and the SPS thrust light is off.
Would you confirm that the Delta V thrust A switch is up and the light went out? Is that correct?
That's correct. It's still in the up and on position, and when I went to the on position, up, the light went out.
Thank you.
I'll just leave it there while you think about it.
Thank you. Let's stand by. This is Houston. We'd like to feel our way ahead here, and we'd like to have you put Delta V thrust A back to off.
A is off, and the light remains off.
We copy. 15, this is Houston. Our telemetry confirms both of your observations, and we would now like to have you cycle Bravo.
Roger. Bravo is up and on. The light is off. Now Bravo is off, and the light remains off.
We copy. 15, we'll sit tight and think about that for a while. Thank you.
Roger.
15, this is Houston. As a final check as to what's happening in that switch, we'd like to have you tap around the Delta V thrust switches a bit, see if any light flickering comes on.
Roger, it'll work. Would you believe it came on?
We copy, and we saw it down here. Okay, with the light on now, let's cycle Bravo on and try to tease it in the middle if it stays on.
Okay, cycling Bravo. Okay, no change at all with Bravo cycling several times through the middle.
We copy. Okay, leave Bravo off and let's cycle A again.
Roger. Okay, right in the center of the contacts with A, right between the two, I can get the light to go out. But now when I go on up and on, the light comes on again. And now I've come back to the off position and the light's off. So I think you've isolated your problem.
Roger. 15, this is Houston. We're willing to stop playing with the light problem at the present time. We'd like to verify that both Delta V thrust switches are off. And we'd like to have the Group 5 circuit breakers both closed, but please keep the pilot valve circuit breakers open.
Okay, Delta V thrust verified off, pilot valve verified open, and we'll close the Group 5.
Thank you.
This Apollo Control at 9 hours 53 minutes. This troubleshooting that the 15 crew has just completed does give us confidence that the Delta V thrust switch A is faulty, whether through contamination or whether something is loose in the switch, we don't know. But it does give us confidence that both banks of ball valves in the service propulsion system are okay. We do not now plan to proceed with the procedures that had previously been planned for Midcourse Correction 1. we're confident that we can develop procedures to operate Bank A safely whenever we burn the engine.
Omni Delta, please.
Roger, Omni Delta.
15, this is Houston.
Houston 15.
Let's summarize our situation with that thrust on light. The telemetry we got down here, we actually have two lights which show up in that area E4 and 5 on diagram 8.9. Gave us some rather confusing data that we don't understand yet, but we'll be working on it. But we do feel confident enough that there's no need to fire the engine at the present time, and since the Midcourse 1 is a correction of 2.8 feet per second, we don't think that we'll be having a Midcourse 1. For your information, at the present time, Midcourse 2 looks about like 5.0 feet per second.
Okay, understand. We'll just hold tight, skip mid-course 1, stand by for 2.
Roger. And 15, be advised, we'll have a flight plan update in the near future.
Roger. That was a pretty good S4B, wasn't it?
Roger. Hey, and you can tell Al up there that those look like real good P-23 markings.
Okay, he's glad to hear that. Very good, Carl.
If you'll give us accept, we'll send up a new state vector.
LOS.
Say again, 15?
Okay, you have soon accept.
You're going to have your computer back.
Roger.
This is Apollo Control at 10 hours 20 minutes. The Apollo 15 crew now taking ultraviolet photographs of the Earth scheduled in the flight plan. Apollo 15 is 49,511 nautical miles from Earth now, traveling at a velocity of 8,407 feet per second.
We'd like to have Omni Bravo, please.
Houston 15.
15, this is Houston.
Raj, Carl, would you go back and recheck the attitude for the UV pictures of the moon?
Stand by, we'll check that. The numbers you have in the disky are what we have in the flight plan.
Houston 15, as you were on that, looks like we're all set up.
Roger. 15, this is Houston. Could we bring up the high gain with the angles in the flight plan?
Roger, Houston, stand by.
15, this is Houston. I have a flight plan update whenever you can copy it, to be followed by a P27 update and P37 clock data.
Stand by. Okay, Carl, I'm working on a flight plan.
Okay, as is obvious, you can delete all the mid-course activities beginning there at 11:21, running through the burn status report. And the other activities this evening can be moved up so that you can go to bed as early as 12 hours GET if you wish. A couple of notes here is that we do want you to stay up to 12 hours in order that we can finish a battery charge that's in progress. And also that wastewater dump, be sure to do the water dump before you start PTC.
Okay, we understand that.
And I've got a P37 for you, plus 25 hours if you're ready.
Stand by one. I'm ready for the P37 for 25 hours.
Roger. 02500 4621 minus 175 07521 03500 6821 minus 174 07451 04500 5605 minus 175 09906 06000 5448 minus 175 12306, and that's the end.
Read back 02500 4621 minus 175 07521 03500 6821 minus 174 07451 04500 5605 minus 175 09906 06000 5448 minus 175 12306.
That's all correct. The next one I have is a P27 update.
Stand by. Okay, I'm ready on the P27.
Roger. It's the purpose V71 GET 114500. Index 21 01501 00001 71465 41437 76654 45425 77003 52553 72602 54007 75455 55217 76267 55324 00402 05560, and that's all.
Okay, on the P27, it's 71 114500 21 01501 00001 71465 41437, 76654, 45425, 77003, 52553, 72602, 54007, 75455, 55217, 76267, 55324, 00402, and 05560.
That's all correct. Thank you, Jim.
This is Apollo Control at 11 hours 2 minutes. Apollo 15 is 52,749 miles from Earth. Velocity 8,101 feet per second. Short time ago we advised the crew that they could delete all of the Midcourse Correction 1 activities and move up the other activities so that if they wish they may go to bed at 12 hours elapsed time, about 1 hour from now. As yet we do not have an indication from the crew what they plan to do. We'll continue to stand by and monitor live for any air-ground conversations. This is Mission Control, Houston.
Houston 15.
15, this is Houston.
Roger, Carl. We got the jar torque and angles up for the B-52, and we'll torque them out on a minute.
Roger, we've copied them.
And Houston, this is 15. Looking at the oxidizer pressure on the SPS, looks like it's a little low. I just wondered what y'all are reading down there.
15, this is Houston. We're reading a pressure of 168 down here on the SPS oxidizer, and that's normal at this time. We expect it to be a bit low because of absorption in the helium.
Okay, thank you.
And 15, this is Houston. When you doff your Biomed harnesses, we'd very much like to have you double check those sensors. We've been getting poor readings in respiration from all three of you, and we'd like to have you report any anomalies in how they're rigged on you.
Roger, we'll do that.
You could send that down with the evening report.
Okay.
Right, Capcom's hearing it just a little fainter than it was. Roger. A little bit earlier,
15, this is Houston. Anytime you have the time to copy down about 6 lines of information, I could give you a general update on the UV filter photography.
Okay, stand by one, Carl.
And 15, we'd like to have you verify that the wastewater dump has been terminated.
That's to verify. Okay, Carl, I'm ready to copy flight plan change relative to the UV.
Roger. The change is the same as I gave you before. When you're shooting the Earth, 2 frames with filter 2, what was formerly 2 frames with filter 2, exposure time 20 seconds. In the future it will be 1 frame filter 2 with an exposure time of 20 seconds, and 1 frame filter 2, exposure time 2 seconds. And the following is the places that this occurs in the flight plan in the future. First is page 3-38, line 17. I believe we've probably passed that one already. The next one is negative. We haven't passed that one yet. The next one is page 3-57, line 16. The third is page 3-167, both at 1:23 hours 49 minutes. and 1:23 hours 56 minutes. The next is page 3-352, line 16. The next is page 3-378, line 16. And the final one is page 3-402, parenthesis it says here, Earth UV, line 16.
Roger, I copied all of that, Carl.
Roger.
Houston
15,
15.
this is Houston, go ahead.
Okay, Carl, would you check the page for PTC and let me know what that verb 49 attitude is. It says verb 49 maneuver to PTC, noun 2090 and 000.
15, this is Houston. I understand that you use the present roll. The one you have now, I believe, is 169.6, and then the other two numbers give you pitch and yaw.
Oh, A firm. Roger, Carl. Thank you. And Houston 15, we're maneuvering to PTC attitude now.
Roger, 15, we copy. This is Houston. We'd like to have a LEM CM Delta P whenever you can check that number for us.
Okay, Carl, stand by one.
Okay, Houston and Delta P is plus 0.4, and we're going to secure the high gain and give you Omni Bravo.
Roger, 15, we copy.
And Houston, we're doing no 2 purge on the fuel cells, and presently purging fuel cell 3 and I've got fuel cell 3 caution light.
Roger, we copy.
This is Apollo Control at 11 hours 50 minutes. Apollo 15 is 56,527 nautical miles from Earth. Velocity 7,844 feet per second.
This is Houston. We'd like to have Omni Charlie.
Houston 15, so you get your last.
Roger, that last comment was to give us Omni Charlie.
Roger, Charlie.
15, this is Houston.
Houston 15, go ahead.
Your spacecraft rates are low enough now to spin up for PTC, but we'd like for you to verify first that all of your dumping has been finished.
little bit here and finish up the dumps before we go into PTC.
Roger.
This is Apollo Control at 12 hours 6 minutes. The spacecraft rate of revolution will be set up for this passive thermal control throughout the rest period is 0.3 of a degree per second. This will provide thermal balance for the spacecraft and its systems during the rest period. Apollo 15 now 57,742 nautical miles from Earth, traveling at a velocity of 7,745 feet per second.
This is Houston. In connection with the respiration sensor problem, we'd like for you to go through a special procedure for us before you doff your Biomed harnesses.
Okay, stand by one, Carl. Okay, Houston, ready to copy special procedure.
Sorry, I don't think it needs copying, but we'd like all three of you. When you go into the doffing phase here, we'd like all three of you to pull off the impedance pneumograms. Those are the two respiration sensors back on your kidneys there. Pull them off, let any trapped air get out, and then reseal them. And give us a couple of minutes of readout down here to see if that improves the situation.
Roger, we'll do that.
This is Houston. We can terminate the battery Bravo charging.
Roger. This is 15. We've terminated the charge on battery B.
Roger, 15. We copy.
This is Apollo Control at 12 hours 40 minutes. Apollo 15 has just passed the 60,000 mile mark outbound to the moon. Distance now 60,188 nautical miles. Velocity 7,555 feet per second.
Houston, 15.
This is Houston.
Okay, Carlos, looks like we're getting organized, and we'll go ahead and go into PTC now. Do you have any preference on which jets to use?
Roger, we'd like to use the BD jets.
Understand, BD, I guess that'd be B2, D2, huh?
Say again, Al.
Guess that means you want us to use B2 and D2, huh?
That's affirmative. And we'd like you to hold the spin up until we, okay, we're able to give you a go for spin up now.
Okay, understand the rates are favorable for spin up depth.
That's affirmative.
Okay, Carl, this is Apollo 15. If the rates still look good down there, we're ready to go to PTC.
That's affirmative, Al. Go ahead and spin her up. We'd like to select Omni Bravo now.
Houston, Omni Bravo.
This is Apollo Control at 13 hours 14 minutes. Apollo 15 now 62,606 nautical miles from Earth. Velocity 7,377 feet per second.
15, this is Houston. How's the view up there?
Houston 15, it is fantastic, Carl. You ought to be here, man.
I'm eating my heart out.
Carl. I think you said that. Just to be me.
And how does 13 hours of continuous zero G feel?
I think everybody's pretty well adjusted, Carl. No problems at all, and we finished dinner, and we're
Very good. This is Houston. On your PTC, when it started out it looked okay, but we find that it's diverging now and we're going to have to reinitialize it. We suggest that this time around that we use a rate of 0.375 in noun 79. That might help.
okay, 0.375 in noun 79.
This is Apollo Control at 13 hours 39 minutes. We've asked the crew to try again on the passive thermal control. Did not achieve the 0.3 of a degree per second that we were looking for after the PTC stabilized. We've asked them to spin it up a little faster to begin this time. That should achieve the rate we're looking for after they stabilize.
Houston, 15.
15, this is Houston.
Roger, Carl. When the rates look like they're down again, we'll try PTC again.
Roger, we'd like to have you verify that all the vents are secured before we spin it up again.
Can work.
And 15, in this damping process, we'd like to make sure that all of the jets on two adjacent quads are disabled.
Roger, it's in work.
And 15, as a part of trying to figure out what went wrong with that first PTC, we'd like to know whether or not you went into any exercise period after we spun it up.
That is negative, Carl.
Roger.
And Houston, the LRP and CDR have recycled their milligrams. You can give us a word if you see any improvement in data.
Dave, we missed that last transmission. Could you say again?
Raj, the LRP and CDR have recycled the impedance numogram, and we just wondered if you'd seen any improvement in the data.
Okay, he's looking at it now and he says yes, it has improved.
This is Apollo Control at 13 hours 55 minutes. Apollo 15's distance now 65,120 nautical miles. Velocity 7,118 feet per second.
15, the surgeon says it's okay for the CDR and the CMP to doff their Biomed harnesses now. Thank you.
Okay. Did that recycling do any good?
Roger. The recycling cleared up the respiration data we have down here very nicely.
Okay, good.
15, this is Houston. Everything down here looks good for the spin-up.
Okay, Carl, we'll spin them up then.
15, this is Houston. I'm sorry to tell you that that spin-up didn't work very well. We're going to have to reinitialize again.
Okay, Houston, we'll try it again.
And Al, the standby.
Right, Carl. Hey, Houston, 15.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Carl, I think if there was a problem that time, it was because I hesitated just momentarily thinking I had it in free and I ended up in hold.
Aha, thanks. Thanks for the information.
Okay.
And 15, we think that your jet configurations were all okay that time around, but we'd like to confirm that during damping, you disable all jets on 2 adjacent quads, and then for the spin-up, you use only B2 and D2.
That's firm, Houston, that's firm.
15, this is Houston. Everything down here looks go for the spin-up.
Okay, Carl, we'll try it once more.
That looked like a very good start.
Okay, Carl.
15, this is Houston. 15, this is Houston.
Houston, 15, go.
It looks like we've got it pretty well wrapped up for your rest period. We've got 3 or 4 small items to remind you here. Crew status report is outstanding. Onboard readouts we'd like, and whenever you're ready, we're ready for an e-memory dump.
Okay, we're about that point in the checklist. We'll give you the whole page at one time. Stand by 1.
Okay.
This is Apollo Control at 14 hours 28 minutes. As the Apollo 15 crew prepares to wind up a long day, the spacecraft is 67,080 nautical miles from Earth, velocity 6,992 feet per second.
Okay, Houston 15, we're ready for the e-memory dump for you. You're ready.
Okay, 15, we're ready to go with it.
Okay, here it comes. And Houston 15, we've got the rest of the pre-sleep checklist if you're ready to copy.
Roger, 15, we're ready to copy.
Okay, crew status report. Everybody's in good shape. No medication today. Onboard readouts. Vaccine 37.0. Pyrobad A 37.2. Pyrobad B 37.2. RCS A 94. B 92. C 94. D 94. And the water has been chlorinated, the H2 fans have been cycled, the valves are all verified, you've got your e-memory dump, the cabin is at 5.7, Recto 2 is closed, and I guess we're ready to go to sleep communications configuration.
Roger, 15, we copy all of that, and the surgeon has a question about were there any obvious anomalies in the Biomed harness?
No, as a matter of fact, we were just discussing that. Al and I both have taken them off, and the sponges are all still quite damp and have their color, and they were all sticking very well. I think the system looks real good.
Very good. Thank you.
Roger.
15, this is Houston. I guess we're ready to go to the pre-sleep configuration.
Roger.
Good night.
Okay, good night.
Incidentally, 15, your PTC is looking very good.
Oh, that's good. By the way, Carl, it's about time for you to get some sleep, too, isn't it?
Raj, it's been a long day for all of us.
Yeah, I think you're a couple, 3 hours ahead of us.
Not that much.
This is Apollo Control at 14 hours, 38 minutes. We've said goodnight to the crew after a long day. We'll stay up live for a little while yet in case there are any postscripts to the air ground. You heard Dave Scott, the Apollo 15 commander, report the crew was in good shape. They've taken no medication. He gave an onboard readout of the battery and the reaction control system status. Passive thermal control appears to be working very well now after 3 tries to get it established.
We note on page 1-24 of the systems book, in the sleep configuration, you've got the S-band nor voice off. That's great.
15, this is Houston. The noise was very bad then. Are you reading me?
Okay, I'm reading you 5-by. Just had a question to verify the sleep configuration of the S-band is mode voice to off.
That's affirmative.
That's just a down voice.
That's
Okay.
affirmative. That gives us a little cleaner TM.
Roger.
This Apollo Control at 14 hours, 40 minutes, and the crew has just turned the voice off. The light has gone out on the INCO's console, indicating the crew has thrown the switch. We'll take this line down now. If there is any further conversation, we'll come back up. At 14 hours, 41 minutes into the flight of Apollo 15, this is Mission Control, Houston. This is Apollo Control at 15 hours, 14 minutes. Apollo 15 is now 70,739 nautical miles from Earth. Velocity 6,835 feet per second. Flight Director Glenn Lunny and his team of flight controllers are preparing to take over here in the Mission Operations Control Room. Shift should change in about 10 or 12 minutes. There will be a change of shift news conference in the Manned Spacecraft Center News Center briefing room at approximately 12:15 a.m. Central Daylight Time. We're estimating the change of shift news conference for 12:15 a.m. Central Daylight Time. This is Mission Control, Houston.
This is Apollo Control at 15 hours 39 minutes. In Mission Control, we've completed a change of shift. Flight Director Glenn Lunny now on, leading the team of flight controllers. And our capsule communicator is backup command module pilot for Apollo 15, Vance Brand. Lunny has been reviewing for the last 10 or 15 minutes with his flight controllers the status of the mission, and everything at this point appears normal. We're very close to the nominal for consumables, such things as propellants, reaction control system propellants, and oxygen and hydrogen. And the general assessment is that we have no problems. Lunny has been reviewing a problem which occurred earlier in the day, and that is the intermittent light on the SPS thrust, and that problem being discussed as it was earlier in the day. At the present time, Apollo 15 is traveling at a velocity of 6,743 feet per second. The current altitude 72,284 nautical miles. We'll be beginning the change of shift press briefing in the MSC News Center briefing room shortly. And during that time, we'll have the lines down. We'll record any conversations, although we do not expect any. The crew has been put to bed now for just about 1 hour in what will be a scheduled 10-hour rest period. This is Apollo Control, Houston. This is Apollo Control at 16 hours 41 minutes. The Apollo 15 crew now some 2 hours into a scheduled 10-hour rest period, and it's settled down to a quiet routine here in Mission Control. One of the principal activities for the ECOM, the environmental and communications or electrical engineer, systems engineer in the control center, is to come up with a set of procedures this evening which can be used to check out that SPS thrust light by the crew tomorrow. At the present time, Apollo 15 is traveling at a velocity of 6,511 feet per second, and the altitude now 76,290 nautical miles from Earth. This is Apollo Control, Houston. This is Apollo Control at 17 hours 44 minutes. Apollo 15 now in a passive thermal control mode with the spacecraft rotating at the rate of about 3 revolutions per hour to maintain the proper temperatures within the command and service module. This is the mode that was set up by the crew prior to beginning their sleep period. They're now about 3 hours into that rest period, which is scheduled to last a total of 10 hours. And in Mission Control, it's continued to be a quiet evening. Flight controllers primarily involved with reviewing the activities that will be coming up tomorrow, and in the case of several of them, reviewing the situation with regard to the SPS thrust light, and working on procedures which will be used probably tomorrow to check the light out. Apollo 15 at this time is traveling at a velocity of 6,298 feet per second. That velocity continuing to drop off as the spacecraft increases its distance from Earth, now 80,226 nautical miles from Earth. This is Apollo Control, Houston. This is Apollo Control at 18 hours 42 minutes. The crew now has been asleep for over 3 hours. The flight surgeon reports that they appear to be sleeping well. The rest period began at 14 hours 41 minutes, or a little over 4 hours ago, and is scheduled to last a total of 10 hours. All systems on the spacecraft at the present remain unchanged, everything operating normally. We show a cabin temperature of around 65 degrees. This temperature is measured near the point where the air flows into the cabin is somewhat lower than the actual free air temperature in the cabin. Cabin pressure at around 5.3 pounds per square inch, which is also normal. Apollo 15 traveling at a velocity of 6,124 feet per second now, and at an altitude of 83,619 nautical miles from Earth. This is Apollo Control standing by. This is Apollo Control at 19 hours 44 minutes. Apollo 15 now traveling at a speed of 5,950 feet per second and out to 87,222 nautical miles from Earth. The crew is now about midway through a scheduled 10-hour sleep period, and things are perking along smoothly, both aboard the spacecraft and here in Mission Control. Flight Director Glenn Lunny has, for the last hour or so, been reviewing the status for mid-course correction, which is tentatively being planned for tomorrow. We won't have a firm decision on carrying out that mid-course correction. It's scheduled at the second mid-course opportunity. And a primary interest in conducting the maneuver at that time will be to get a check of the service propulsion system. The spacecraft is continuing in its passive thermal control mode, rotating slowly at a rate of about 3 revolutions per hour. This allows all sides of the vehicle to get equal exposure to the sun and to the cold of space, and to maintain the proper temperatures. This is Apollo Control standing by at 19 hours 46 minutes. This is Apollo Control at 20 hours 41 minutes, with Apollo 15 now traveling at a speed of 5,802 feet per second and out to 90,425 nautical miles from Earth. The crew is still sleeping soundly at this time, and we have a clock here in Mission Control that is currently counting down to the time that the crew is scheduled to be awake, that to be now some 4 hours 18 minutes away. The major activities, once the astronauts awake, will be a mid-course correction opportunity, the second mid-course correction opportunity, which comes at about 30 hours 56 minutes. And the crew will also enter and make preliminary checks of the lunar module Falcon. In Mission Control, it continues to be a very quiet evening, and the major activity centering around preparation of procedures to be used for the mid-course correction, which would most likely occur at the second opportunity, 30 hours 56 minutes into the flight, and a principal interest there to check out the service propulsion system engine. This is Apollo Control continuing to stand by. This is Apollo Control at 21 hours 48 minutes. Apollo 15 now traveling at a speed of 5,639 feet per second. We've watched that velocity decrease since coming on shift from about 6,700 feet per second down now to about 5,600 feet per second. And that speed will continue to drop off as the spacecraft moves farther from Earth and farther from the influence of Earth's gravity until the point that the lunar gravity becomes dominant, and once again we'll see the velocity begin to pick up. We're showing now the spacecraft 94,130 nautical miles from Earth, and about 3 hours 10 minutes left in the scheduled 10-hour rest period for the crew. Flight surgeon reports that they appear to have been sleeping soundly. The major scheduled activities when the crew awakens will be mid-course correction. That mid-course correction maneuver, the second opportunity, which will occur at about 30 hours 56 minutes into the flight, and the second major activity following crew awakening will be ingress into the lunar module and a check of systems there. This is Apollo Control standing by.